purpose of this meeting is to bring forth legislation that will be considered by City Council at a future date. With that, we'll start off with Mr. Johnson.
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to touch on a piece of legislation out of planning, an ordinance authorizing the city manager and urban project director to advertise for bids for the 2016 CDBG Street Improvement Program, subject to the right to reject any and all bids, authorizing entering into said contract with the lowest most qualified bidder, and authorizing payment therefore.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. We'll continue on to Ms. Curdaw.
No legislation, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Curdaw. We'll continue on to Mr. Metcalf.
Your Honor, three pieces. The first one is under finance, ordinance amending ordinance number 2015-50, the existing table of organization of the city of Steubenville. That is our final fact finding with the police and this FOP, the FOP with their contract, and that was a 2.2% bid raise, which is retroactive to January. So this is going to be put in as an emergency.
Well, either as an emergency or what
Let's just do it as an emergency.
Because
So
we'd
that way,
like to get it done for
we got to do it in this budget year. I just try to do it as an emergency and get it to our finance department to get it with the payroll.
It's emergency, okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Second, under service committee, ordinance waiving formal bidding requirements and directing the city manager to enter into a contract with the lowest most qualified bidder for the reconstruction and repair of the traffic signal system at the intersection of State Route 7 and Ross Street. City project number 2015-128, authorizing payment thereof and declaring an emergency. This is due to the accident that occurred. I know Mr. Golek's here, and Mike, this is an emergency because we need to get this in to get it fixed because it is on State Route 7, number 1 with the traffic flow. I think it has to do with timing issues that you need.
Correct. The signal has been dark since I think it happened on October 15th. The truck exiting facility after dumping some dirt left its bed up and ripped down this couple strain poles, strain wire, damaged about 6 signals. It's quite an extensive amount of damage. My original thoughts was it would be in the $30,000 range, but after getting a quote from the contractor, we were over the $50,000 range. So I'm bringing utilities to you as an emergency. As quickly as we can get it done, we're going to do that.
And the other reason we need it as an emergency too is because we're in touch with the wrongdoers insurance company, and so we have to get that bid at that price to them, so so we can get payment from them to get this done too.
I'll be soliciting 2 and possibly, hopefully, 3 quotes from contractors that do this type of work throughout the state and do work for us as well.
That was my question, if we had got in touch with the insurance.
And then just lastly, from council as a whole, it's a resolution to honor Steubenville Catholic Central's boys soccer team on the first ever OVAC championship for school in soccer. And that's it this evening, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Metcalf. We'll continue on subject of legislation to Mr. Paul.
I have no legislation, Your Honor, but on November 24th, I would like to call a safety committee meeting. As of right now, 6:30. I would like to do that, depending on the outcome of tonight. But 6:30 would be the time I'd like to do it. 24th. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Paul.
Thank
And
you.
the clerk will
6:30 for right now.
The
yeah.
clerk will facilitate the proper notice for a safety committee meeting of City Council on November 24th at 6:30. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Paul.
Mayor.
We'll continue on to Mr. Bill Magna.
Nothing.
Thank you, Mr. Bill Magna. Mr. Davis?
I have no legislation this evening, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Mr. Diaretta?
Yes, Your Honor, just a suggestion, the change of this ordinance of this table organization. I'd like to also include in these all the fringe benefits that occur as far as their salaries go. My estimation, you get so much of a salary, there's so much extra fringe benefits, which adds up over clubs. I think I'd like to know what the total cost is for everyone, including myself. Everyone knows now the first of the year what council's going to get. We take away some, or we're getting some back. So I just like the whole picture to be put on these ordinances as well if possible. Hopefully they're positive with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Diaretta. That will conclude the sunshine and about legislation. We will move to public forum. Is there anyone wishing to speak to city council on city business? Please come forward and state your name and address.
David Fortune, 142 North 6th Street. Lately I've been walking up and down Lover's Lane to go to my truck driving school. And it's kind of tough walking up and down Lover's Lane because I got to walk on people's properties and I'm waiting for them to come out and say, get off my property. I understand you guys are doing some work on Lover's Lane in the next year or two. I was wondering if we can include like a little narrow sidewalk path so I won't be walking on people's property. Also, on that agenda, I've seen several trucks go down Lover's Lane from Sunset to past the mall entrance, and I know they're not supposed to go down there. And I was looking for the signs, and Mike, this will come up to you. Trucks going up from 22 on Lover's Lane can see the sign. Making a left turn off the Sunset, you can see the sign going towards Mall Drive. I've seen trucks turn onto Lover's Lane going towards the mall from the right, from coming out of Wintersville. They can't see the sign until they're committed into that turn. I was wondering if the traffic coming out of Wintersville can have a sign saying no right turn for trucks over 5 tons. I have seen that sign, and it is on a little slant towards the, I don't know if it would be east-westbound lanes or whatever. But coming out of Wintersville, you can't see that sign, really. I just want to let you guys know that. And think I'm a trucker now because I got my CDL permit now. I have to think like a trucker now, and I like to be a little bit more proactive and help these truckers that are not supposed to go down that road. Because it is a very narrow road, and I think Bob can contest to that because he barely fits it on that road with his truck. I've seen Rikehurst yesterday morning at 6:30 in the morning almost hit a school bus coming up towards Sunset because they are so wide. There was a day cab with a 48-foot trailer attached to it going down that road. I just want to let you guys know maybe a sign can be put up really soon so we don't have an accident with involving semi-truck. Thank you.
I can answer that, Mayor, if you like.
Go right.
The first question regarding the sidewalk, when the roundabout is constructed at that particular location, at that intersection, there will be sidewalks.
Okay.
Not through the whole, not through the whole length, not from all the way from Lovers, from Sunset all the way back. So there will be sidewalks at that location. As for the 5 ton, as for the load limit on trucks, there's no load limit imposed on Lovers Lane. If there's a 5-ton load limit up there, there's nothing on actually on our city ordinances books. We can have the police officers enforce that. There's nothing that can enforce that. Trucks are permitted on Lovers Lane if they have a destination that they're going to. So some of those truckers do come up Lovers Lane because their GPS is sending them there, and they're going to the mall. They have realistically, they have a right to be there.
Okay.
The lane is narrow, but they do have a right to be there. Now, if somebody's coming up from Gould's, hauling a load, they really don't have the right to pass through. That's where you probably may see the trucks going through. And if that's hard to police, I believe, you'd have to pull every single truck over and get its manifest and see exactly where it's going. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Golick.
If I may, I think because of the narrow of the roadway, we should not permit trucks on there because it is so narrow that trucks are so wide that they take up almost all that lane and they run down that yellow line. I just want to make that suggestion, maybe for a safety issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't they have to go back to H&A screen frame to deliver material? Isn't that part of the?
There are instances that happen, sir.
Maybe tell Dave that, I don't know. Is he aware of that?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. There are businesses that are served by trucks off of Lovers Lane, so that's really the source of the trucks for the most of them.
There's no other way around it?
Not a practical route.
Okay.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak to city council on city business? Please come forward, state their name and address.
is that Florida guy lived at 434 Scenic Drive in Steubenville. I want to reinforce what Mr. Di Loretto was asking in the name of information about employment and salary. From my experience, generally what people say is, how much do I make an hour, which addresses their hourly rate. What I like to think of is compensation, because as you all well know, as you deal with budgets, compensation, when you get into hospitalization and some of these other things, adds up. So I'd just like to reinforce you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to city council on city business? Please come forward, state their name and address.
Louise Stubbs, 621 North Fifth Street. I just like to tell council or whoever was in charge of that 620 Webster getting cleared. They got cleared, I appreciate it. And I talked to Mr. Rappella, let me know that they're doing something about that jungle spot over there, and I appreciate what's been done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak to city council on city business? Please come forward, state their name and address.
My name's Anna Sweeney, address 710 North Fifth Street. Last Friday, the beautification committee had a wild suggestion, and it was a blast. We had trunk or treat on Fifth Street, and we had probably over 200 kids show up. It was the first event for this thing, and I want to commend Miss Angie and the beautification committee and the mayor and the fire department and anybody else that was out there. We need to do it annually. It was good for the community. People got out, met their neighbors, and it was fun. So I just want to say thank you to the beautification committee and Miss Angie.
Thank you. I was going to close with a couple of remarks of how successful the trunk or treat event was. I know I enjoyed myself. Of course, I came in the costume dressed as the mayor, and a lot of people knew who I was. But it was a great success, and next year I'm going to encourage neighborhoods to join in on the trunk or treat. We'll help you out organize it. It was a great event, and we want to thank you because I noticed you had the candles out in front of your house and your lounge chair, and your house decorated also, even with signage. So we do appreciate that. And I know that the beautification committee has a list of people to thank, and I'm sure thank yous are going to go out. But Vince's Funeral Home was a great partner, along with Zion Temple, also serving the cookies and the hot chocolate for the kids. But next year, we're hoping to, Mr. Dioretto, have something in the south end also, than on the north end. I know as we move out to the west end of Steubenville, it's a little bit more difficult, but I think it's also an idea event for both of the hilltops, Pleasant Heights and Layville. But I look forward to it, and it was a great event. The committee should be commended. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to City Council on city business? Please come forward, state their name and address. Mr. Metcalf.
If there's no further business, Your Honor, I'd like to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
It's been regularly moved and second that we adjourn. Roll call.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Berthoff?
Aye.
Mr. Metcalf?
Aye.
Mr. Paul?
Aye.
Mr. Villamagna?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. DiLoretto?
So